All of. Hey, how's it going? How's it going?
Not bad. How are you doing as I enter with my most professional arm shaking?
Yeah, we're all doing good. We're all doing good. We're glad. We're glad to have you on.
Thank you
So,
very much for having me.
no worries. So, if you'd like to introduce yourself to the stream, go ahead.
Absolutely. My name is Mike Kovac, and I am an actor, filmmaker, stunt person, a couple other things. And I've worked on a couple of video games, but most notably, I would say that the video game that I've worked on is the Resident Evil 4 remake, in which I play Krauser. Which was one of the best experiences of my life, both making it and then being part of it in general, and then afterwards. So yeah, that's the short on me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Um, so, so what's the magic between like doing voice acting and like television acting? Because you've done both, haven't you? So,
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, was the question like kind of like the connection between the two of them there, or?
So kind of like what the difference is apart from
Oh,
like the actual acting itself, and which one do you prefer?
yes.
Like,
Oh, that's a good call. They are very different. I honestly and genuinely love both of them, but for different reasons, I would say. When it came to the Resident Evil 4 remake, I was very lucky because I got to do both the voice acting for it, but I also got to do motion capture and facial capture for it as well. And when I was first doing it, anything with map, I find is a lot closer to theater than anything because it is so not big, but there's a chance that you can be seen from any angle, any degree. Whereas as soon as we get into film acting, there's some sort of frame that we're aiming for. Even if we have multiple cameras going, we have kind of like a one sort of frame, and how much of us or how much of us in the set and other actor kind of gets in with that. Um, and so the scope of what it is that we're doing kind of changes with that, and especially doing stuff like RE4 when we were filming it, when we were working together there, we had no idea what like shot they were going to choose, if that makes sense, especially for our cinematics and things like that. We had no clue. So all you can do is kind of perform it to the best of your abilities, try and dial in with your fellow actors if you're lucky enough to have them there, which we were very, very lucky. And then just kind of hope for the best. And so I guess that's the main difference of like the scope and not really knowing how it's going to be used is a pretty big difference and a lot closer to theater in some way, shape, or form. But like, there's all these multiple cameras of the audience, and so yeah, what a rambling answer. I apologize.
no, no, that's okay. I like to hear everyone's story. I, so I'm a big DC fan, and you did
Mm.
some work in shows like Arrow, Batwoman, and you were in Supernatural as well. And what was your favorite television role? And which one do
Oh,
you cherish forever?
in terms of the DC stuff, you're completely right. I got to do so much fun stuff with those shows. I loved working on Supernatural because I got to die multiple times doing that show, which was always a good time. On one of them, they just shaved me, and then the other one, they're like, "Yeah, just grow a beard. We'll just keep the beard on you, and nobody will know or care." I was like, "Great, whatever keeps me working." And but genuinely, in terms of really fun experiences for DC projects, I got to do a lot of really fun stunt stuff on Batwoman, and I think Batwoman, especially like season one of the shows, has a very sometimes rocky experience for audience members. Some people absolutely loved it. A lot of people were like kind of wonky about it. What I can say is working with Javicia Leslie, who was the Batwoman in season 2, and did they do it in 3? I'm terrible. I think they did.
I think I'm pretty sure Ruby Rose was that woman in like the first season. Then I think
Yeah.
she got recast for some reason, something like that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, stuff happens there, and so Javicia Leslie was the second was the second Batwoman. She is delightful to work with. She is really really cool, very very sweet individual. Really good at as I duck down to try and grab this. Really great fight person too. Really, and so being able to do all of that just made it really enjoyable to work with her, and it was very easy going on set, which is always a nice feeling. And I got to be an inmate of Arkham Asylum during my I think my last time shooting with them, and I was so
Oh,
excited. They didn't really tell me going into it what I was going to be doing, and then when they handed me the Arkham Asylum jumpsuit, I was like, perfect, great. I'm very excited. Let's do this thing. And then a bunch of us got our butts kicked in the rain, which was great. So yeah.
right. Uh, so what got you into like voice acting and acting in general? Like, was it something
Oh,
that was it like an inspiration or anyone out there before you that you looked at and like, yeah, I can do this?
you know what? I have to credit my high school drama teacher was the first person that made me feel like, oh, you could actually do this as a living. Up until that point in time, most of the adults in my life had sort of treated it like a joke or that I kind of like stop doing. You know, you'll grow up at some point in time and you'll choose some other path. And her name's Miss McCurdy. She's still teaching, and I'm very happy that she is. I was involved in acting before I got into high school out here in Canada. And then I started with her classes, and she was the first one that was like, "So, are you going to study acting as you get out of here and things like that?" And it was the first time I truly entertained it, and throughout that process, I was already extremely physical, both with roles, but also with my training in general. That's when I started to take martial arts. That is when I started to train in professional wrestling, which is why I have long hair actually, because long hair does so much work for us in wrestling. And then it was kind of all of these little baby steps that threw me into acting, and then from there, the work eventually came from. Uh, there's this really bizarre element of the voice world, and I'm so interested to know if you know about it. Have you heard of Walla work by any chance?
I haven't. No, no, I don't think I have.
Walla work is one of the unsung areas of sound and voice work, and I heard somebody kind of describe it as sort of like being an extra with voice work. And honestly, I like that's actually a pretty good comparison, but I think that there's actually more opportunities to move from Walla into the greater voice world. So what Walla is let's say they've shot a scene, and the scene takes place in a bar. And so within the confines of the reality of the scene itself, there's going to be this like loud pumping music, and there's going to be people talking all over the place. But when they film it, obviously they have no music, no saying, with the exception of the leads. A really good example of this is if you ever watch the deleted scenes of American Psycho. You've got the Willem Dafoe character and Christian Bale's characters in a bar, like, and they're kind of yelling at each other, and it never made it to the final cut, and so the deleted scenes are without any of the sound work that they would layer on top to make it sound like a bar. So a Walla performer comes in usually with a team of Walla people and a Walla director that comes in and goes, okay, we're in the interior of this bar, it's late at night, we're going to fill in all of the other voices for around this bar. And we're going to do that, and we'll layer it on top, and then we'll have this scene. And a lot of the times we get asked, well, why don't you just use like a sound bank for that? The problem is that it never really sounds quite right for what's going on. Humans are just better at just kind of watching it and just firing it off. And so I started doing walla work, and from there I kind of got a reputation for being able to do like big reactions, because we'll also do like big battle scenes, and so I got a reputation for being able to do like big screams and battle stuff, which led me to kind of doing creature work, which led me to doing more and more sort of voice work. So it was, again, there's like little baby steps, but it was very fun. The people that kind of like last in Walla are the people that can uh believably transition to one scene when understanding that we're not supposed to be the main focus of the scene, but we have to add character and energy to it. It's such a weird area of sound, but it's a lot of fun.
That's quite cool. So you mentioned that you do professional wrestling. So I would like to ask, when did you get into professional wrestling, and what kind of like what wrestler kind of like inspired you to be like, one day I wanna do this. I want to be a wrestler.
Yeah, yeah. So I loved wrestling from a very young age. I really enjoyed it. I'm sure my parents were tearing their hair out at it, because they did love playing and still are not they're not big fans of wrestling. I grew up in Calgary, and so it's very stereotypical, but I do it to
Bret Hart.
Bret Hart. Bret Hart was just such a Canadian hero, and is such a Canadian hero to me. And I mean, it was in Calgary, and so watching Bret and Owen Hart and the whole Hart family, I wanted to get into wrestling, and found myself in a very good city trying to do that. So, yeah.
Is wrestling one of those things you do that you feel like you could do it as like a career as well as like voice acting and acting?
Oh, there was a point in time when I was young that I was like, yeah, I want to do pro wrestling as a career. And so I did the training, and I'm still extremely grateful for the training, because I would say it was the basis of all of the stunt training that would come later. Um, Realistically, I think through the whole self in it, I could have like, had a chance, maybe, but the physical rigors of those athletes is beyond. And I don't know that I would have had the stamina to keep it up at such a high level for as long as I kind of need to get to that upper echelon of it. So I tip my hat to all the professional wrestlers that are out there. I still love wrestling. I absolutely adore wrestling. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I could or not. I feel like that would have been up to the fans, the industry in general. I think I would have given it but I never ended up doing it there. So, yeah, what can you do?
That's it. That's it. So at the start of your acting career, you did a few shorts. So is that true that you did a few shorts?
Yes, I was very fortunate to kind of have a bunch of very like-minded individuals around me growing up that I still work with. Friends of mine and family members of those friends sort of gravitated towards filmmaking. So we were making shorts when we were, like 13 and 14 years old, and doing little films. And we're pretty lucky that we had some very supportive parents that were down with this, letting us just kind of run wild with our filming. I think the first like IMDb credit I have on there is like a short that I did in university, which if it wasn't up on IMDb, I probably would have forgotten about it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a very good way, because our university had us shooting all the time, which was a really good thing. And I think that the most significant thing the filming that we did, I went to Capilano University, which is a wonderful, wonderful film program. The significant thing was that we would film and we would submit it to our teachers. And no matter what, they would always give us notes. And those notes weren't just like, yeah, maybe think this. It was always, here's some notes. Go out and either reshoot it or re-edit it or something, so that you'd have to get used to, all right, the process. It's not a finished thing necessarily until we actually put it out there. And it got us all very used to yeah, you're gonna get changes that you're gonna have to put in if you want to, bring it to actual picture. So yeah, we did a whole bunch of shorts. We still do, honestly, if, at least kind of like experimentally, just trying stuff out. A lot of the vast majority of it, over 99%, never seen the light of day, but it's good practice. Yeah.
Hmm, that's good. That's good. So obviously you get to play, you get to do some like voice acting in video games. So would you consider yourself a gamer?
Oh, I love video games. I love video games way before I got to make video games. I am a huge fan of the Resident Evil series in general. So truly being able to work on the series at all was a huge dream come true for me. Um, I didn't know until audition number I auditioned 5 times for the role of Krauser. I didn't know until audition number 3 that it was for Resident Evil. And when I found out, I should ask like my director if Steve if I tried to play it cool and be like, oh, okay, yeah, Resident Evil, because I found out on a call with Steve, our director, of the producers. They asked me, hey, have you signed the non-disclosure agreement? And I said, yeah. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to send you another one right now. So read that, and then we can kind of talk about it. Read it, write it, and sign it, and then we can talk about that. So I did, and they're like, so this is the Resident Evil 4 remake. I don't know if you've heard of the series. In the meantime, I had like an Umbrella Corporation like symbol on the back of my car and things like that. Like I adore Resident Evil, and so I'm trying to play it real cool. Uh, I love video games. I don't love like all video games because I haven't met anybody that loves every single video game. But yes, I love games and still play.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So Resident Evil 4 remake was probably the best kept secret for a long, long time,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
it was quiet. And I remember watching that state of play, and it got announced. So did you and the cast get to find out this is like months before they announced it? Um, so you said that you didn't know it was for Resident Evil 4 to start off with when you had the auditions,
Yep.
but so did the cast find out when you was like recording the lines that yeah, this is what we're doing? Obviously, Nick.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Obviously,
Like
yeah.
yeah, when like after that third audition, and then I had 2 more after that, I found out that yeah, this was the project, and we were really really lucky because all of the voice actors there are also doing the mocap for the most part of
Oh,
everything in there. And so we were really lucky because we got to be in the same room working with one another. And when it comes to mocap, very often you don't at all. You're in a room on your own, and you're trying to like act against a sandbag or something like that. And so we were really, really lucky. Like when we did the scene where, spoiler alert for anybody watching this, there Krauser dies. When Leon kills Krauser, like I got to be there with Nick, just helped things out so much from an acting standpoint, because we didn't have to kind of like, we got to give and take with each other, which is great. So we knew kind of the entire time through that yes, this was the Resident Evil 4 remake that we were doing. And then so the beginning I started working to it to the very last time that I was like in working on it was a year and a half. Nick, I'm sure working for like at least a year before that, because he was coming back from 2, and so it was this huge block of time. And then when it finally did the announcement that this is for Resident Evil, I think like all of us kind of knew it's going to be pretty soon that they start telling people about it. I think we found out like 72 hours before they actually did the announcement. Hey, it's going to come out,
wow.
kind of thing. And then it did, and we got to kind of like, even then, none of us officially said we were in the game. I think Nick was able to because he was returning as Leon and people recognized his voice and things like that. But the rest of us, like, nobody said anything until it actually came out because nobody wanted to be like last minute breaking their non-disclosure agreement or something like that. It would have been bad. It would have been real bad.
Yeah, yeah, that would have been bad. But yeah, like the one thing with Resident Evil is it's probably a lot of people's favorite Resident Evil game, like the original, especially.
Oh,
So I like to say that the cast of the remake, they probably had a lot of big boots to fill. Do you think everyone in the cast filled those boots, or do you think personally the remake could have been better? But personally, for me,
I
I think the remake's good. I think the OG is good. I can't pick a favorite.
I am like I'm extremely biased because I got to work on the on Resident Evil remake. Like what I will say is that like as fans of the series and pretty much everyone in the cast was a fan at some level of fandom. Nick is a super fan. He is huge. He like I remember as a fan when the Resident Evil 2 remake came out, I was really, really dubious. I was like, Resident Evil 2, the original, is one of my favorite video games. I have such good memories of it. And when they were doing a remake, I was like, why? Why are we doing this? And then I played the remake of 2 and was blown away. I absolutely adored it. I thought it was so cool. The tweaks and changes that they made, I thought were great. And I'm happy to hear you say it there. I still love the original Resident Evil 2, and I love the
Of
Resident
course.
Evil 2 remake. Coming in before, the original Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorites as well. It revolutionized gaming. It was so cool. It was so fun. It did so much. And it was I'll speak for myself on it there, knowing that we were remaking this extremely loved, extremely successful game was very daunting. And yeah, there was differences, there was changes. I sound on a vocal performance level. I will say, like, I know that I do not sound like what is I believe Jim, the original Krauser voice, who did an amazing job. I don't really sound like him, so I was sitting there going like, I don't know. It's like I talked with our director Steve about it and going like, I'm kind of worried that I don't sound like this guy, and he's like, don't worry about that. We're gonna like, when it comes to Krauser, we're doing our own thing. Do it to the best of your like acting performance and kind of let's start crafting the character from that. And I knew people were gonna have different reactions to that. The pro wrestling side of me though was like, oh good, I'm playing a bad guy, I'm playing a heel. So if they like great, I can kind of lean into that and go, fine. Yeah, like kill me then. Great. You're gonna have a fantastic killing. Um, but I was very, very conscious that we were trying to fill these massive, massive boots and just try to do the best job that we could with it. I will say that Capcom was very aware that hey, this universally loved game. We got to be very careful trying to do it and how we're going to do that. So yeah.
Of course, of course. So you got to do a lot of stunt work as well, and you did some stunt work in the Last of Us TV show.
Yeah, yeah. That was again another dream come true. I absolutely love that series. I love the series and I love the games. And so
Yes.
when I got the chance to be on the show, it was so much fun. The stunt team on that show is just incredible. The cast and crew on that show are phenomenal. And they threw absolutely everything into it there. And so it's hilarious because I'm in season 2, episode 2, and it's a huge just melee episode. There's so much fighting. I haven't been able to parse out exactly where in there I am, but I'm one of the townspeople of Jackson, fighting a bunch of infected. Uh, it
Oh,
was
that is awesome.
it was incredible to be part of. Yeah.
So what was it like working with like actors and actresses like you know, Bella Ramsey and Pedro, and having like
Oh,
across like that around you?
I must be very, very honest. I never got the pleasure of working with either of them in person. Hope to.
Ah,
Fingers crossed. I would love to at some point in time. I was very much wrapped up with the rest of the stunt team and the stunt infected and the stunt Jackson participants. But what I can say is that the stunt team overall, because we talk, had glowing reviews of both of them and all of the stars they have on that show, which always makes things just like I said about the Javicia Leslie situation, just so much more fun and so much easier to work with them. And so I heard nothing but good things, which is great, especially when you're fighting somebody in the snow for months on end, or weeks on end, at least when it came to those episodes.
right. To wrap up, all I'm gonna say is, do you have any news for the future of voice acting? Um, like if Capcom asked you to come back to Resident Evil, would you go back?
Oh, I mean, I would work with this series again in a heartbeat. Of course I would. Of course, it's been one of the best experiences of my life. I've said it all along. I get to like act out a dream with it. So anytime, you know my number. More than willing to come back.
Of course, yeah. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you
So,
so much. It's been a pleasure, and yeah, I hope we get to talk again in the future, my friend. And where are you
hope
located?
so.
Just
England, the United Kingdom.
what?
Say that again.
Sorry, what parts of the UK are you in?
So, second biggest city in England, Birmingham.
Fantastic, right on. My wife and I took our honeymoon of the UK and just had an absolute blast. It is one of our favorite places on earth. So much love to everybody over there from Canada.
Awesome, awesome. It's nice to sit down and talk to you. And yeah, of course, one day we might be back on here. You never know.
Heck yes, my friend. Thank you so much.
Awesome,
And I'm gonna go take my dog for a walk. So right on.
awesome, awesome.
Take care. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
No problem.